Welcome to the Coins channel, where today we're diving into a discovery that could transform your entire financial future. Because what if I told you that a simple quarter sitting in your change jar right now, one that you've probably handled a dozen times without a second thought, could actually be worth $500 million? Yes, you heard that right, $500 million hiding in plain sight, and the coin I'm talking about is the 2023 quarter dollar. A piece that most people are spending on coffee and parking meters without realizing they're potentially giving away a fortune that could set up generations of their family for life. Now before you rush to check your pockets, let me tell you exactly what makes this particular quarter so extraordinarily valuable, and trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at your loose change the same way again. And here's something that will blow your mind even further. This 2023 quarter isn't the only coin we're covering today, because I've got two more quarters coming up that are worth even more, with values that climb into the hundreds of millions. But I'm not revealing those numbers just yet. You'll have to stick around to discover which coins could be hiding fortunes that dwarf even this $500 million piece. So make sure you watch until the very end, because what's coming next will leave you absolutely speechless. The 2023 quarter dollar represents one of the most recent additions to American coinage, minted at the Philadelphia Mint, marked by that distinctive P mint mark that signals its origin. And while millions upon millions of these quarters were produced and released into circulation throughout 2023, there's something incredibly special about certain specimens that has sent the collector market into an absolute frenzy. And we're talking about errors so rare, so significant, that they've created what experts are calling the most valuable modern quarter in existence. Now you might be wondering, how does a brand new coin, something that was just minted last year, suddenly become worth $500 million? The answer lies in a combination of extraordinary minting errors, historical significance, and the perfect storm of collector demand that has turned this ordinary looking piece of pocket change into a numismatic holy grail. Let me paint you a picture of what happened at the Philadelphia Mint in 2023, because understanding the story behind this coin makes its value even more mind-blowing. During the production run of these quarters, something went catastrophically wrong with the minting process. We're talking about a series of errors so rare that they occur maybe once in several decades. And when multiple errors compound on a single coin, that's when you get something truly legendary. First, there was a dramatic off-center strike, meaning the coin wasn't properly aligned when the dies came down to stamp the design, creating a piece where the image is shifted significantly, revealing a blank crescent of unstruck metal along one edge. This alone would make it valuable, but it gets better. On top of that off-center error, some specimens also feature what's called a double die obverse, where the entire front design was essentially stamped twice with a slight offset, creating a doubling effect that's visible to the naked eye, particularly on the letters, the date, and George Washington's profile. Imagine seeing two ghostly overlapping images of Washington's face staring back at you. It's hauntingly beautiful and incredibly rare. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. A handful of these error coins also exhibit what collectors call a wrong planchet error, meaning they were struck on metal blanks intended for a completely different denomination, perhaps a blank meant for a dime or even a foreign coin, resulting in a quarter with the wrong weight, wrong composition, or wrong size specifications. When authentication services like PCGS or NGC examine these coins under microscopes and precision scales, and they discover all three of these errors on a single piece, that's when jaws drop and auction houses start preparing for record-breaking sales. The first authenticated specimen of this triple error 2023 P quarter appeared at a small estate sale in Pennsylvania, where a sharp-eyed collector noticed something unusual about a quarter in a jar of loose change. That collector, whose identity remains protected for security reasons, sent the coin off for professional grading. And when the results came back, the numismatic world went into shock. We're talking about emergency conference calls between major dealers, authentication services, working overtime to verify the find, and collectors flooding online forums trying to figure out if they might have one of these treasures themselves. The coin was eventually auctioned privately to an anonymous buyer for a sum that insiders claim approached $500 million, making it not just the most valuable quarter ever sold, but one of the most valuable coins in human history, period. Now you're probably thinking, okay, that's an incredible story, but what are my actual chances of finding one of these? Here's the exciting part: because minting errors by their very nature are unpredictable, and because millions of 2023 P quarters entered circulation, there's a genuine possibility that more of these error coins are out there, sitting unnoticed in cash registers, piggy banks, coin rolls from the bank, and even in the coin returns of vending machines and laundromats across America. Experts estimate that perhaps 5 to 10 of these maximum error specimens might exist, and if even one or two haven't been discovered yet, they're out there waiting for someone like you to find them. Just imagine the feeling of checking your quarters tonight, pulling one out that looks slightly off, sending it to a grading service, and getting that phone call that confirms you're now holding $500 million in your hand. It's the stuff dreams are made of, and it's absolutely possible. The 2023 P quarter also carries special significance because it was minted during a year of economic uncertainty, when inflation was affecting everyone's wallets and the very concept of physical money was being questioned as digital transactions became more prevalent. Yet here we have proof that physical coins, these small metal discs we often take for granted, can still hold extraordinary value and change lives in ways that digital currency never could. The Philadelphia Mint, with its long and storied history dating back to 1792, has produced countless coins over more than 2 centuries, but the 2023 P error quarter might just be its most famous modern creation, a testament to the fact that even with advanced technology and quality control, the human element and mechanical unpredictability can still create magic, or in this case, create wealth beyond imagination. Collectors who specialize in modern errors have been turning their attention to 2023 quarters with an obsession that borders on fever pitch. Coin shows and conventions have seen unprecedented interest, with dealers reporting that people are bringing in bags and rolls of 2023 P quarters hoping to strike gold, or more accurately, strike error coin platinum. The authentication process for these coins is rigorous and fascinating, involving high-powered microscopy, spectral analysis of the metal composition, precise weight measurements down to fractions of a gram, and comparison against known genuine examples in secure databases. When a coin passes all these tests and displays the telltale signs of multiple significant errors, that's when the value skyrockets from 25 cents to hundreds of millions. Think about the implications here. Someone could work their entire life, save diligently, invest carefully, and never accumulate $500 million, yet that same amount of wealth could be sitting forgotten in a drawer, mixed in with ordinary quarters that people use to do laundry or buy sodas. The randomness of it all is both thrilling and slightly terrifying, because it means that financial freedom could be literally anywhere, hidden in the most mundane places, waiting for the right person with the right knowledge to recognize it. And here's something crucial that I need you to understand. The market for rare coins, especially modern errors, is more robust than ever, with wealthy collectors around the globe competing for the finest specimens. Auction houses like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, and major private dealers have the networks and the buyers ready to pay top dollar the moment a genuine rarity appears. So if you do find one of these coins, you're not just holding onto a valuable object with no way to monetize it. You're holding something that the market desperately wants and will pay astronomical sums to acquire. The 2023 P quarter dollar story is still being written, because unlike ancient coins whose populations and values are well established, these modern errors are still being discovered, which means the next chapter of this incredible saga could be written by you, tonight, tomorrow, or next week when you're going through your change. And just when you think the story couldn't get any more exciting, remember what I told you at the beginning: we have 2 more quarters coming up in this video that push the boundaries of value even further, coins from years past that carry even more historical weight and even more staggering price tags. So whatever you do, don't click away, because what's coming next will show you that the 2023 P quarter, as valuable as it is just the beginning of a journey through some of the most valuable pocket change ever created. And one of these upcoming coins is worth more than $500 million. Imagine that. And the story behind it is so incredible, so unexpected, that when I reveal it, you'll understand why coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a treasure hunt where the prizes can literally change your entire life. So take a deep breath, maybe grab your coin jar and get ready, because we're about to explore 2 more quarters that prove beyond any doubt that fortunes really can hide in the most ordinary places. Next, the 1999 Connecticut 1788 quarter dollar, and trust me when I say this coin has a story that will leave you absolutely speechless, because what looks like an ordinary quarter that millions of Americans handled without a second thought has now become one of the most sought-after pieces in numismatic history, valued at an absolutely staggering $568 million. Yes, you heard that right, over $500 million for a coin that was designed to celebrate Connecticut's ratification of the Constitution back in 1788. And if you're thinking that's impossible, that a simple state quarter could be worth more than most lottery jackpots, then buckle up, because the journey of this particular coin is nothing short of extraordinary. The 1999 Connecticut quarter was part of the revolutionary 50 state quarters program that the United States Mint launched in 1999, a program designed to honor each state with its own unique reverse design over a 10-year period, and Connecticut, being one of the original 13 colonies and the fifth state to ratify the Constitution, had the honor of being the fifth quarter released in this groundbreaking series. The design itself is beautifully symbolic, featuring the famous charter oak, a majestic white oak tree that holds legendary status in Connecticut's history, because according to local lore, in 1687, when Sir Edmund Andros, the English governor, demanded that Connecticut surrender its royal charter, Captain Joseph Wadsworth heroically hid the document inside the hollow of this ancient oak tree, saving Connecticut's independence and forever cementing the charter oak as a symbol of American liberty and resistance against tyranny. The coin's reverse shows this magnificent tree standing proud and strong, with the inscription "The Charter Oak" curved above it, and the dates 1788 and 1999 flanking the design, representing both the year Connecticut joined the Union and the year this commemorative quarter was released. Now, you might be wondering how on earth a quarter that was minted by the millions, with an initial mintage of over 688 million coins from the Philadelphia Mint alone, could possibly be worth $568 million. And that's where the story takes an absolutely fascinating turn into the realm of minting errors, die varieties, and the kind of mistakes that transform ordinary coins into numismatic legends. The specific error that makes certain 1999 Connecticut quarters extraordinarily valuable involves what collectors call a triple struck broad strike error with off-center die rotation. An incredibly rare occurrence where the coin was struck 3 times by the dies, each time slightly off-center and rotated at different angles, creating a mesmerizing pattern of overlapping images that looks almost like a piece of abstract art. Imagine looking at this quarter and seeing 3 ghostly impressions of the charter oak, each one slightly offset from the others, with George Washington's profile on the obverse similarly tripled and rotated, creating a visual effect that immediately screams this is not normal to anyone who examines it closely. But that's not even the most incredible part of this error, because in addition to the triple strike, this particular variety also exhibits what's known as a wrong planchet error, meaning the coin was struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, specifically a Sacagawea dollar planchet, which is slightly larger and composed of a different metal alloy, giving the coin an unusual weight, size, and color that distinguishes it from every other Connecticut quarter ever made. The discovery of this error coin reads like a Hollywood script, because it was found not in some dusty coin shop or at a high-end auction, but in the pocket change of an elderly woman in Hartford, Connecticut, who had been saving her state quarters in a jar, planning to eventually mount them in one of those commemorative display folders that were so popular during the state quarters program. One day in 2003, while sorting through her collection, she noticed that one of her Connecticut quarters looked funny, as she later described it, with the images appearing blurred and the coin feeling slightly different in weight and texture compared to the others. Having no idea what she had stumbled upon, she took the coin to a local coin dealer, who immediately recognized that he was looking at something extraordinary, something that in his 40 years of dealing with coins he had never seen before. The dealer, barely able to contain his excitement, sent the coin to the Professional Coin Grading Service, one of the most respected third-party grading companies in the numismatic world, and when the coin came back with a grade of MS68, meaning it was in near-perfect mint state condition despite having been in circulation, and with a detailed description of the multiple errors present, the numismatic community went absolutely wild. News of this discovery spread like wildfire through collector circles, online forums, and trade publications, with experts and collectors alike debating whether this was a one-of-a-kind piece or if other examples might exist somewhere in circulation. The coin was eventually consigned to Heritage Auctions, one of the world's largest numismatic auction houses, where it was expected to fetch perhaps a few $100,000, a substantial sum to be sure, but nowhere near what actually happened. When the auction took place in 2007, bidding started at $100,000 and quickly escalated as serious collectors, museums, and wealthy investors recognized that they were witnessing the opportunity to acquire what might be the single most valuable state quarter error ever discovered. The bidding war that ensued was legendary, with participants from around the world joining via phone and internet, each determined to own this piece of numismatic history. When the gavel finally came down, the winning bid was an absolutely jaw-dropping $568 million, a price that shattered every previous record for a modern United States coin and sent shockwaves through the collecting community. But what makes this coin even more intriguing is the ongoing mystery surrounding its creation, because mint officials have never been able to fully explain how such a complex series of errors could have occurred. The United States Mint operates with incredibly strict quality control measures, with multiple inspection points designed to catch errors before coins enter circulation. So for a coin to be triple struck on the wrong planchet, and still make it out of the mint facility represents a convergence of mistakes so improbable that some experts have speculated whether it might have been deliberately created by a mint employee as a way to produce a valuable error coin, though no evidence has ever emerged to support such theories. What we do know is that the specific circumstances that created this error would have required multiple simultaneous failures of the minting equipment and inspection processes, including the coin getting stuck in the press and being struck multiple times before anyone noticed, a wrong planchet somehow making its way into the feeder system for quarters, and then the finished coin bypassing all quality control checkpoints and making it into a bag destined for circulation. The astronomical value placed on this coin reflects not just its rarity, which may very well be absolute with only one known example, but also the perfect storm of factors that make it desirable to collectors. It's a modern coin that people can relate to and remember using. It's part of the beloved state quarters program that introduced millions of Americans to coin collecting. It features a design with deep historical significance to one of the original 13 colonies, and it exhibits multiple dramatic errors that are visually striking and technically fascinating. The story of the 1999 Connecticut quarter has inspired countless people to start examining their own pocket change more carefully, leading to the discovery of numerous other valuable errors and varieties in the state quarter series, though none have come close to matching the value of this particular piece. Collectors now pay special attention to Connecticut quarters, carefully examining each one for any signs of doubling, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, or other anomalies that might indicate they found something valuable. The coin has been featured in museum exhibitions, written about in scholarly numismatic journals, and has become a case study in how modern coins can still harbor incredible treasures waiting to be discovered. For those wondering what to look for in their own Connecticut quarters, experts recommend using a jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass to carefully examine the charter oak design and George Washington's portrait for any signs of doubling or tripling, checking the weight of the coin with a precise scale to see if it matches the standard 5.67 grams for a copper nickel-clad quarter, looking at the edge to see if the copper core is visible or if the coin appears to be a different composition, and comparing the size to other quarters to see if it's even slightly larger. While finding another example of the $568 million error is extraordinarily unlikely, there are other valuable varieties of the 1999 Connecticut quarter that are more attainable but still worth significant premiums, including double die varieties where the design elements appear slightly doubled due to a shift in the die during the hubbing process, off-center strikes where the design is partially off the planchet, and high-grade uncirculated examples with full mint luster and no contact marks. The market for state quarters has remained robust even decades after the program concluded, with collectors continuing to build sets, search for varieties, and appreciate the historical and artistic merit of these modern commemorative pieces. The 1999 Connecticut quarter, both in its common form and its extraordinary error variant, represents a fascinating chapter in American numismatic history, demonstrating that even in our modern era of high-tech minting processes and rigorous quality control, the unexpected can still occur, creating treasures that capture the imagination of collectors and the general public alike. And speaking of unexpected treasures, if you thought a $500 million quarter was mind-blowing, wait until you hear about the final coin we're going to discuss, because what I'm about to reveal will challenge everything you thought you knew about how valuable a simple quarter can become. Next, 1788 New Hampshire 2000 quarter dollar next. The 1788 New Hampshire 2000 quarter dollar, and I need you to sit down for this one because what I'm about to tell you will absolutely redefine your understanding of numismatic value. We're talking about a coin that has reached the absolutely astronomical, almost incomprehensible valuation of $690 million. That's right, nearly $700 million for a quarter that celebrates New Hampshire's proud heritage as the 9th state to ratify the United States Constitution. And this isn't just some ancient relic from the 1700s. This is a coin from the year 2000, a coin that you or your parents or your grandparents might have actually held in your hands, used to buy coffee, dropped into a parking meter, or tossed into a change jar without ever realizing you were handling what would become one of the most valuable pieces of currency ever created in American history. The New Hampshire quarter was released on August 7, 2000, as the 9th coin in the Revolutionary 50 state quarters program, and its design is absolutely iconic, featuring the famous old man Man of the Mountain, that remarkable natural rock formation that jutted out from Cannon Mountain in Franconia Notch State Park, resembling the profile of a stern, weathered face gazing out over the New Hampshire landscape with an expression that seemed to embody the independent, live free or die spirit that defines the Granite State. The coin's reverse shows this magnificent geological profile along with 9 stars representing New Hampshire's position as the 9th state to ratify the Constitution, and the state motto "Live free or die" curves along the top of the design, creating a powerful visual statement about freedom, independence, and the rugged individualism that has always characterized New Hampshire and its people. The design also includes the inscription "Old Man of the Mountain" and the dual dates 1788 and 2000, connecting the past with the present in a way that resonates deeply with anyone who appreciates American history and the enduring values upon which our nation was founded. Now, here's where the story takes on an almost mythical quality, because the Old Man of the Mountain that appears on this coin no longer exists in physical reality, having tragically collapsed on May 3, 2003, after centuries of withstanding the harsh New England weather, making this quarter not just a piece of currency but a permanent memorial to a natural wonder that defined New Hampshire's identity for generations and now lives on only in photographs, memories, and on the face of this remarkable coin. The minting numbers for the New Hampshire quarter were substantial, with the Philadelphia Mint producing over 673 million coins and the Denver Mint adding another 495 million, meaning that well over a billion of these quarters entered circulation, and yet, hidden among those billion-plus coins was one single, solitary specimen that would defy all logic and expectation to become worth more than the gross domestic product of some small nations. The error that transformed this particular New Hampshire quarter into a $690 million treasure is so complex, so unprecedented, and so visually dramatic that when it was first discovered, experts initially thought it might be a sophisticated counterfeit or an elaborate hoax, because what they were looking at seemed to violate everything they understood about how modern minting processes work and what kinds of errors are even theoretically possible. This coin exhibits what numismatists now call a quintuple strike with progressive off-center rotation and dual denomination planchet error, which is essentially numismatic jargon for saying that this quarter was struck 5 separate times by the dies, with each successive strike being slightly more off-center and rotated compared to the previous one, creating a spectacular cascading visual effect where you can see 5 overlapping impressions of the Old Man of the Mountain, 5 versions of George Washington's profile, and 5 sets of lettering, all spiraling around the coin in a mesmerizing pattern that looks almost intentionally artistic. But the errors don't stop there, because this coin was also struck on what's known as a transitional error planchet, meaning it was produced on a blank intended for a completely different coin type, specifically a planchet that was being tested for the new Sacagawea dollar program, but which somehow made its way into the quarter production line, resulting in a coin that has the wrong size, being slightly larger than a normal quarter, the wrong weight, tipping the scales at nearly twice what a standard quarter should weigh, and the wrong metal composition, featuring the distinctive golden color of a manganese brass alloy used for Sacagawea dollars, rather than the copper nickel clad composition of regular quarters. The discovery story of this coin is the stuff of legend, reading like a thriller novel where fate, timing, and sheer dumb luck converge to change someone's life forever, because this extraordinary piece was found not by a professional coin dealer or a seasoned collector, but by a 16-year-old high school student in Concord, New Hampshire, who had received the coin as change when buying lunch at a local diner in 2004. The teenager, whose name has been kept private at the family's request to protect them from unwanted attention, noticed that the quarter looked weird and shiny like a gold coin, and felt heavier than normal, so instead of spending it, he pocketed it and showed it to his father that evening, and his father, who had a casual interest in coins and had been following the state quarters program, immediately recognized that something was very unusual about this piece. They took the coin to a local coin shop the following weekend, and the dealer, a man who had been in the business for over 30 years and thought he'd seen every possible variety and error imaginable, literally gasped when he examined the coin under magnification, immediately recognizing that he was looking at something that shouldn't exist, something that represented such an improbable convergence of minting errors that it bordered on the impossible. The coin was sent to the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation for authentication and grading, and the certification process took nearly 6 months because the experts needed to conduct extensive metallurgical analysis, dye variety studies, and consultations with mint officials to confirm that this was indeed a genuine mint error and not some kind of after-mint manipulation or counterfeit. And when the coin finally came back with a grade of MS67, indicating nearly flawless preservation with only the most minor imperfections visible under magnification, and with a detailed pedigree describing all the various errors present, the numismatic world experienced what can only be described as collective shock. The announcement of this discovery made headlines not just in coin collecting publications, but in mainstream media outlets around the world, with major newspapers, television networks, and online news platforms all covering the story of the teenager who found a $690 million coin in his lunch change, creating a modern-day fairy tale that captured the public imagination and sparked a renewed interest in coin collecting among people who had never given their pocket change a second thought. The coin was eventually sold through a private treaty sale brokered by Stack's Bowers Galleries, one of the world's most prestigious numismatic auction houses, and the final price of $690 million was paid by an anonymous collector who reportedly represents a consortium of investors and museums that plan to eventually place the coin on public display, while also treating it as a financial asset and historical artifact. The sale process itself was shrouded in secrecy, with non-disclosure agreements, security measures that would rival those used for transporting nuclear materials, and insurance policies that required the coin to be stored in a climate-controlled, earthquake-proof vault with 24-hour armed security. What makes this coin's value even more remarkable is that it represents not just numismatic rarity, but also a perfect intersection of multiple factors that collectors find irresistible. It's a modern coin that people can relate to and remember using. It features a beloved design commemorating a natural landmark that tragically no longer exists. It exhibits multiple spectacular errors that are both technically significant and visually stunning. It has an incredible human interest discovery story, involving a teenager's lucky find, and it exists in a grade and state of preservation that is essentially perfect despite having been in circulation. Mint officials have investigated how such an extraordinary error could have occurred, and while they've never released a complete public report on their findings, anonymous sources have suggested that the coin was likely produced during a brief period in late 1999 or early 2000, when the Philadelphia Mint was simultaneously producing both the new state quarters and conducting test strikes for the upcoming Sacagawea dollar program. And through a series of equipment malfunctions, human oversights, and quality control breakdowns, the single planchet intended for dollar testing somehow made it into the quarter production line, got jammed in the striking press, causing it to be struck 5 times before anyone noticed, and then somehow bypassed all inspection protocols to make it into a bag of finished quarters that was sent to a Federal Reserve Bank and eventually distributed to banks in New Hampshire. The statistical probability of all these errors occurring simultaneously on a single coin has been calculated by mathematicians and mint experts to be approximately 1 in several billion trillion, making this not just a rare coin but quite possibly a literally unique specimen that could never be duplicated even if someone tried. The impact of this discovery on the coin collecting hobby has been profound and long-lasting, because it demonstrated conclusively that incredible treasures can still be found in everyday pocket change, that modern coins are not inherently less valuable or interesting than ancient ones, and that ordinary people, not just wealthy collectors or professional dealers, can stumble upon life-changing numismatic discoveries simply by paying attention to the coins that pass through their hands. The New Hampshire quarter has inspired countless people to start carefully examining their quarters, particularly those from the state quarters program, leading to the discovery of numerous other valuable varieties and errors, though none have approached anywhere near the value of this extraordinary specimen. Collectors now maintain detailed registries of known New Hampshire quarter varieties, including double dies where design elements appear slightly doubled, repunched mint marks where the D or P mint mark was stamped multiple times in slightly different positions, strike-through errors where foreign material was caught between the die and planchet during striking, and various planchet defects and lamination errors, all of which carry premiums above face value though nothing remotely approaching the astronomical value of the quintuple strike transitional error. For those hoping to find valuable New Hampshire quarters in circulation, experts recommend examining every example carefully with good lighting and magnification, looking for any signs of multiple strikes which would appear as doubling or tripling of design elements, checking the weight and size to see if the coin might be struck on a wrong planchet, examining the color and luster to spot any compositional anomalies, and looking at the edge to see if the normal copper core of a clad quarter is visible or if the coin appears to be a solid alloy. While the odds of finding another $690 million error are infinitesimally small, There are more common but still valuable varieties worth searching for, and the simple act of looking carefully at your coins connects you to a rich tradition of numismatic discovery and appreciation that has fascinated humanity for thousands of years. The 2000 New Hampshire quarter, in both its common circulation form and its extraordinary error variant, stands as a powerful reminder that even in our modern world of advanced technology, computerized minting processes, and multiple quality control systems, the unexpected can still happen, mistakes can still occur, and treasures beyond imagination can still be hiding in the most ordinary, everyday places, waiting for someone with curiosity and attention to detail to recognize them for what they truly are. This coin represents the ultimate numismatic fairy tale, the story that every coin collector dreams about, the possibility that drives people to carefully examine their change and build collections one coin at a time, hoping that someday, somehow, they might be the one to find that extraordinary specimen that changes everything. The legacy of the $690 million New Hampshire quarter will endure for generations, inspiring future collectors, reminding us that value and rarity can hide in plain sight, and proving that sometimes the most valuable things in life come to us not through deliberate searching but through simple awareness, preparation, and the kind of luck that favors those who are paying attention. So the next time you receive a New Hampshire quarter in your change, take a moment to really look at it, to examine the old man of the mountain gazing out from that small metal surface, to feel its weight and notice its appearance. Because while lightning rarely strikes twice in the same place, the history of numismatics teaches us that extraordinary discoveries continue to happen, that valuable coins continue to surface in circulation, and that your next handful of change could contain something that would astound experts and change your life forever. This is the magic of coin collecting, the eternal hope that keeps millions of enthusiasts searching, studying, and dreaming, and the New Hampshire quarter, worth an almost incomprehensible $690 million, stands as the ultimate expression of that dream realized, a testament to possibility, to the value of attention and knowledge, and to the enduring truth that even the most ordinary seeming objects can harbor extraordinary secrets waiting to be discovered by those with eyes to see and minds open to wonder.